Was Ronda Rousey's loss actually a good thing for UFC? The face of the UFC suffered a shocking, brutal and ultimately embarrassing loss at the hands of Holly Holm in Melbourne. Ronda Rousey, a 20-1 favorite leading into UFC 193, was left unconscious on the canvas after taking a kick to the side of the head, making for one of the most unbelievable scenes in the history of the sport. The biggest shock wasn't that Rousey was knocked out, that can happen to any fighter, but that she was decisively and comprehensively destroyed by Holm before it happened. Holm exposed all of Rousey's weaknesses, established complete control of the fight, and then knocked her out. Before the KO, Rousey lost the first round of her career to Holm and was chasing Holm's shadow in the second. Holm made Rousey look mortal, and every one of Rousey's future opponents will now know that she isn't invincible. On the surface, Rousey's loss seems like a devastating blow, and you might think that Dana White is panicking over the results. He didn't seem overly joyous in his post-fight interviews. A Rousey loss could be exactly what women's MMA needs, though. Rousey has made it clear in the past that she has interests outside of the sport, and plans to disappear in order to launch her film career. She might be the next Dwayne Johnson, and his transition away from fighting certainly paid off. Back in September, Rousey said that she planned to retire by the age of 31, which is just 3 years away. You might be able to count the number of fights Rousey has remaining on one hand. Before her loss to Holm, Rousey was the lone female superstar in UFC. She completely, and understandably, overshadowed an entire roster of talented athletes, and many felt that there was no one left for Rousey to fight in her own weight class. Rousey is going to leave the sport eventually, but if she did so as an undefeated fighter, she would have been irreplaceable. If Rousey couldn't be beaten by any of her peers, why would UFC fans bother watching inferior competition when she's gone? It seems unlikely that Holm, the preacher's daughter, can become the type of crossover superstar that Rousey is, but UFC desperately needed a foil for Rousey. Despite the loss, Rousey is still the most popular fighter in the sport, and people will still pay to watch her. It doesn't really matter if Rousey is the UFC champion or not. Fans weren't paying $60 to watch the UFC Women's Bantamweight champion fight, they were, happily, paying to see Ronda Rousey. The title is irrelevant for her, as is her record at this point. Rousey has already built a massive fan base and became a household name by being the most exciting fighter in the business, and those people aren't going away now that she lost. It can only help the sport grow for someone else to be in the spotlight for a while.